The cargo ship floated in space like a ghost. Its engines were silent, and its lights were dim. Only the blinking red warning sign showed it was still alive. Inside the ship, crates were stacked one over another. Heavy and sealed tight, one of them was different. It was black, made of cold metal, and covered in alien locks. It shook sometimes, and strange noises came from inside. The ship landed on a dark planet. The sky was red, and the ground was dry like old bones. This was the place where no one asked questions, where meat was sold, not just animal meat, but anything rare and valuable. They called it the bone market. Big creatures with sharp teeth and cold eyes came here. They looked for meat that gave power, youth, or strength. The black crate was carried by two large alien workers. They dropped it in front of a tall insect-like merchant. He tapped the crate with one of his claws. The crate moved again, and a soft growl came from inside. "What's in there?" a young worker asked, his voice shaking. The merchant smiled with his many teeth. "Something special," he whispered, "untamable." Later, a small crowd gathered. A loud horn echoed in the market. The auction was about to begin. The crate was placed on a high platform, lights shining on it. The merchant stepped forward and raised his hands. "Today," he said, "we offer something rare, something wild, the last of her kind." He pressed a button, and the crate slowly opened. Gas poured out, hiding the shape inside. When the smoke cleared, the crowd fell silent. Inside the crate, a girl sat chained. Her skin was pale blue. Her eyes glowed white, and strange symbols moved on her skin like light. She looked young, but her eyes were old. She stared at the crowd without fear. One of the aliens stepped back, afraid. "Is it alive?" Someone whispered. "She's not just alive," the merchant said. "She's powerful." The crowd started shouting bids. One alien offered a mountain of credits. Another offered rare weapons. They wanted her not for her mind, but for her meat. Legend said her kind gave strength and energy when eaten. They believed she was just a product, a thing. But she didn't scream. She didn't beg. She just stared, waiting, watching. Far above the planet, in the darkness of space, a small human ship drifted. Its pilot sat alone, his face tired, his eyes locked on the screen. He watched the auction from a hacked feed. When the crate opened, his breath stopped. He leaned forward, whispering, "It's her." Years ago, he had found her as a child, hidden during the Great War. She had no name, no home, but she learned. Quickly, he protected her, taught her human words, gave her food and safety. But one day during a raid she was taken. He searched for years, but found nothing until now. Looked at his ship's fuel level, almost empty. If he jumped now, he could reach the planet, but not return. Still, he didn't wait. He pressed the jump button, and the ship roared forward. Back at the market, the girl looked up at the sky. For the first time, her lips moved. She whispered a single word, "Coming." The buyer stepped forward, a rich alien lord with golden armor. "Cut her now," he said. "I want the first piece fresh." A butcher raised his blade, smiling. But before the knife could touch her, the metal around her neck began to glow. The air shook, and the lights flickered. Her eyes flashed bright, and the crate exploded with energy. Everyone fell back, stunned. The girl stood now, chained still. On her arms, but her power growing. She didn't run. She just waited. Something was coming. The sky above, the human ship broke through the clouds, its engines burning the last of its fuel. The pilot held the controls tightly, his voice calm. "Hold on, kid," he said. "I'm not letting them take you again." The smoke still danced in the air. Sparks flew from broken wires as guards picked themselves off the ground. The crate was shattered. The girl was gone. But her presence still echoed through the metal. Walls like a ghost, in the center of the chaos stood Lord Karzak, a tall, cold-blooded alien with eyes like burning coal. His golden armor was cracked from the blast, but his pride was not. He licked the blood from his lips and smiled. "She's stronger than I expected," he growled. "I like that." He turned to his soldiers. Dozens of armored brutes with blades for arms. "Find her," he ordered. "I paid for meat. I don't care if she walks, crawls, or screams. Bring me my prize." Deep inside the slaughterhouse tunnels, the girl ran, chains still dragged behind her, glowing softly. She was tired, but her steps were steady, not far behind. Security drones searched every hallway. They scanned the air, picking up her heat, her breath, her scent, but she was not afraid. She had seen worse. She had survived worse. She stopped in the shadows and touched the wall. A wave of light passed. Through her skin and into the metal, a screen appeared, showing paths through the maze below the market. She remembered this place, not from memory, but from something inside her, something hidden in her blood. Meanwhile, above the tunnels, Lord Karzak entered his private chamber. Skulls of rare beasts hung from the walls in the center. A round table glowed, showing a hologram of the girl. She was created.
Eight.
He said to himself, not born. Not bred, she is a weapon, and I will taste her power. The door opened behind him, out, and a voice spoke. She's not yours. Karzak turned. Slowly, a human stood in the doorway, dusty and tired, wearing an old flight suit. His face was scarred, but his eyes were fire. You're a long way from Earth, Karzak said, grinning. Fuel's expensive these days. The human stepped forward. I'm not here to talk, he said. I'm here to take her. Karzak laughed. The sound like knives on glass? You think you can walk in, take my prize, and walk out? You're brave or stupid. The human didn't answer. Instead, dropped a small device on the floor. It beeped twice, then exploded in a blast of light. Karzak roared in rage as the human vanished into the smoke. The game had begun. Back underground, the girl paused. She felt something like a whisper in her bones. Someone was near, someone she knew. She turned a corner and saw a shadow moving toward her. Her hands lit up, ready to fight, but then she saw his face. Old, tired, but full of warmth. She blinked. Her voice soft. You came. He smiled, breathing hard. Yeah, he said. Sorry I'm late. She took a step forward, then collapsed. He caught her, holding her like something precious. Her body was weak. Glowing symbols fading. They tried to cut me, she whispered. But I stopped them. You did good, he said. Real good. Sirens began to scream. Above, Karzak had activated the kill protocols. The entire base was now a trap. We have to move. The human said. She nodded, still weak. He lifted her into his arms and ran toward the maintenance shafts. Behind them, doors slammed shut, walls moved, and machines came alive. This was not just a meat market anymore. It was a fortress, and they were now inside it. As they disappeared into the smoke and sparks, Karzak watched from the cameras. He grinned. Run, human, he said. Run as far as you like. I always finish my hunt. The vents groaned above them. Steam hissed from every pipe. Metal walls pulsed with red lights like the station itself was alive. He carried her through the narrow tunnels, her skin glowing faintly, her breath shallow. The girl was light. But the weight of the moment was heavy. She had nearly died. Again, he had found her again now. They had only one way out. Behind them, the sound of boots echoed. Heavy and fast. The soldiers were coming. The doors were locking. The entire station was changing shape to trap them. This place was never just a market, the man said under his breath. It's a prison. The girl opened her eyes slowly. There's a ship, she whispered. Level 7. He nodded, turned right, then left. Trusting her voice more than his memory, they passed old storage units, broken drones, and sealed labs. Symbols written in ancient language glowed faintly on the walls. She looked at them as they ran past. I've been here before, she said softly. Long ago. He didn't ask how. He knew the truth. Her mind was more than memory. She was a living key. She could feel machines, understand them, change them ahead. A door blocked their path, thick and locked. The girl reached out a weak hand, touching the control panel. Her fingers lit up. The metal bent. The code broke. The door opened. They entered a wide hallway filled with broken glass and blood. Signs of a past escape or maybe a past failure in the shadows, a noise. The man turned, gun ready. But it was not a soldier. It was a child, alien, small and afraid, hiding behind crates. The girl looked at the child and smiled. She whispered a word in a lost language, and the child nodded, then disappeared into the vents. "You're not just running from them," the man said. "You're waking something." She didn't answer, but he was right. Her presence was waking memories, forgotten codes, and broken machines. She was more than just a girl now. She was a signal. Behind them, metal footsteps grew louder. Karzak's hunters, they were fast, silent, deadly, bred for one thing: capture. "We need a distraction."
Act,
the man said. He pulled a small energy core from his jacket and threw it down the hall. It exploded in blue fire. The walls shook, and alarms screamed louder. They reached a lift. It was old, rusty, but it worked. As they rode up, the girl leaned against him. "I knew you'd come," she said. "You promised." "I always keep my promises," he said. Trying not to show the fear in his voice, she smiled even in pain. "You were just a pilot. Now you're a soldier." The lift stopped. Level 7. They stepped into a massive hangar, once full of ships, now filled with wreckage. Only one small craft remained in the corner, half covered in dust. The man ran toward it, but the girl stopped. Her eyes widened. "They're here," she said. Shadows dropped from the ceiling, black armored hunters with glowing red eyes. No words, no mercy, just blades and silence. The man pulled out his last weapon, a small plasma pistol. "Stay behind me," he said, but the girl stepped forward. Her chains rattled, her eyes glowed bright. She raised her hands, and the floor cracked. The hunters hesitated, confused. She spoke one word, and the lights went out. Darkness, silence, then light. A blast of energy hit the hunters, throwing them across the hangar. The girl fell to her knees, drained. The man grabbed her and pulled her into the ship. He slammed the hatch closed and started the engine. Outside, more soldiers ran in. Karzak himself stood at the door, watching. He didn't scream, didn't move. He just smiled. As the ship lifted off, lasers fired. The air burned. Metal exploded. But they were already gone. Breaking through the hangar roof, the ship flew into the sky. Inside, the girl slept, safe for now. The man looked out the window, his hands shaking. "No fuel, no allies, no plan," he whispered. "But we're free." Somewhere in the blackness of space, something ancient stirred. The signal had been sent, and now others were waking too. The stars outside the ship looked still. But inside her mind, everything was moving. She was dreaming. No, not dreaming. Remembering. She floated in a white room, walls soft like light. Her body was smaller, younger. Machines hummed around her, speaking in a forgotten code. A voice spoke gently. "You are not like them. You're more." She turned, but saw no face, only light. The voice belonged to someone she used to trust. A man, a scientist, a builder of strange things. He didn't give her a name. He gave her a purpose. Then the dream shifted. Flames, metal breaking, screams. She saw soldiers running, alarms flashing. She was being carried by someone strong, a human. Him, he was younger, laughing through the chaos. "We'll name you later," he had said, "after we get out of here." That moment never came. A door opened in her memory, and she saw the cage again. The crate, the chains, the hunger. Now she also saw the code, lines and shapes. Hidden in her blood. Not just DNA, something alive. A key, waiting. She woke with a gasp. The ship shook gently as it floated in deep space. The man sat nearby, fixing a broken panel. He looked at her and smiled, tired but real. "You're awake," he said. "Bad dream?" She sat up slowly. "Not a dream," she said. "A message." He raised an eyebrow. "From who?" She touched her chest. "From myself." He didn't understand. Not fully, but he listened. That's what made him different from the others. She looked out the window, eyes glowing softly. "I was made to end a war," she said, "but I was too young. Too dangerous. They hid me." "Who?" he asked. "My makers," she said. "They were human. Some were not. They worked together for peace. But peace is dangerous for those who profit from fear. He sat beside her, so they turned on each other. She nodded. He erased the project, but not me. He leaned back, thinking, so you're the last of your kind. No, she said, I'm the first. Silence filled the ship for a moment. Then the warning light blinked. Fuel low, he sighed. Still no fuel, still no allies. She turned to him. There is someone. A memory glowed in her mind. A name, a place, a face. Dr. Yaren. She said he helped build me. He might know how to fix what's inside me. Where is he now? The man asked. She closed her eyes. Last known signal, she said, was from the edge of the pirate zone. Planet. Vortha 6, he groaned. That place is a graveyard. Scavengers, mercenaries, poison air. She smiled gently. Then we'll fit right in, he laughed. Just a little. Fine, he said. But after that, I'm taking you somewhere safe. She looked at him. There's no safe place for what I am. But if I can finish what I was made for, there might be peace. He didn't argue. He just stood and walked to the cockpit. Buckle up, he said. We're going to Vortha 6. As the ship turned toward the stormy stars, the girl sat still. She reached inside her memory and touched the code again. It was waking up now, unlocking piece by piece. And every time she touched it, something across the galaxy responded. Back on the alien station. Deep in Karzak's fortress, a new screen. Lit up lines of strange symbols moved fast. Karzak stared at them with wide eyes. She's learning, he whispered. She's remembering, and soon, she'll remember me. The sky above Vortha 6 was a swirling storm. Clouds rolled like angry waves. And lightning cracked in silence. Down below, the surface was black rock and acid winds. Nothing grew here. Nothing lived here. Except killers, thieves, and ghosts. The ship landed hard, shaking as its systems powered down. The man stepped out first. Breathing through a cracked filter mask, the girl followed, who'd pulled low over her glowing eyes. She didn't need the mask. The air bent around her like it. Knew who she was. This place smells like death, the man muttered. Good, the girl said softly. Maybe no one will follow us here. She was wrong. Far above them, in a quiet corner of space. A message pinged through a dozen dark channels. Encrypted coordinates, bounty level, uncatchable, reward, unlimited. Bounty hunters from every race. Every moon and every broken planet saw it, and every one of them smiled. They had no idea what she was, only what she was worth, back on Vortha 6. The man and the girl moved through a burned-out city. It had once been a science colony. Now it was a junkyard of bones and metal. She walked in silence, her eyes flicking over old signs, shattered doors, names she had almost forgotten they found. The lab buried under a collapsed tower, the doors were sealed tight, but the code on them responded to her touch. They opened with a slow hiss, revealing darkness and dust. Inside they found him. Dr. Yaren, old, frail, half machine, half man. He coughed as the light hit his face. I told them, he said, his voice shaking. I told them you couldn't be killed. He looked at the girl, then at the man beside her. You brought her here, he whispered. You're either very brave or very foolish. Both, the man said, mostly foolish. The doctor led them inside, down rusted stairs into a room full of blinking lights and frozen files. He scanned the girl's arm, and lines of old code lit up the walls. This isn't just memory, he said, shocked. She's unlocking her core protocol. What does that mean? The man asked. She was made to connect, the doctor said. Two systems, two signals, two living things. She's waking them all, outside the lab. A dark shadow dropped from the sky. A bounty hunter touched the ground without a sound. He wore armor made from broken stars behind him. More landed 6 in total. No names, no voices, only one mission. Inside, the girl's fingers began to twitch. Her breathing changed. There's danger, she said. They're here. The man grabbed his weapon. The doctor slammed a lockdown switch. The doors hissed closed, but it would only buy them minutes. You can't fight all of them, the doctor warned. I know, the man replied, but I can slow them down. He looked at the girl. If I don't make it, you will, she interrupted. You have to, outside, the bounty. Hunters charged. The lab shook with every blast, every hit. Walls cracked, lights flickered. Then the girl screamed, not in fear, but in release. Energy exploded from her body, sending waves through the floor. The walls came alive. Machines turned on by her presence. Screens showed old memories. Soldiers, creators, battles. One face returned again and again. Karzak. Watching her birth, ordering her death, he had been there from the beginning. The doctor's eyes widened. He didn't just want to eat her, he whispered. He wanted to erase her. Because she's the last proof he ever failed. The man stood at the blast door, weapon ready. The bounty hunters broke through, but the room was no longer just a lab. It was a machine now, connected to her, protecting her. One by one, the hunters were pushed back. Disarmed, burned, blinded, but one made it through. He fired, and the shot hit the man in the side. He fell, bleeding, gasping. The girl screamed. Again, louder, brighter. The power inside her exploded once more. This time it didn't stop. The last hunter was thrown against the wall. Unconscious then, silence. The lights dimmed. Her glow faded. She dropped beside the man, grabbing his hand. You're going to be okay, she whispered. He smiled, weak but alive. You're getting better at that? Dr. Yaren walked over, stunned by the destruction. She's not finished, he said. She's just begun, outside. Far beyond the planet's storms, Karzak watched from a dark chamber. He smiled as he saw her power rise. She's learning to fight, he whispered. Good. It makes the hunt more fun. Asterisk, the fire had stopped. The floor was cracked, black from the heat of her power. Silence filled the lab now, broken only by the slow beep of a medical scanner. The man lay on the table, half conscious, breathing shallow. The girl sat beside him, her hand gently over his heart. Her glow had faded, but her eyes held something new. Fear not of the enemy, but of losing the only person who ever saw her as more than a weapon. Doctor Yaren moved between monitors, scanning data, injecting medicine. He'll live, he said. Barely. She didn't answer. Her focus was on the man, the one who had burned his last fuel to save her. Now he was the one who needed saving. Dr. Yaren pulled up a file from deep storage, one marked with a red symbol, forbidden. He turned to her, serious. There's a way to stabilize your power, he said, but it comes with risk. She looked up slowly. Will it help him? If it works, yes, Yaren replied, but you'll have to open the last part of your code, the part that was locked for a reason. Before she could answer, a soft alarm beeped. Someone was approaching, but it wasn't a hunter. It was a ship, a human model, old but still flying. The scanners lit up, showing a name, Captain Vorn, the man's old ally from the war. Moments later, the blast doors opened, and Vorn stepped through, tall, armored, confident. His face lit up when he saw the girl. Well, he said, smiling. The ghost is real. Dr. Yaren stepped forward. Confused, you were declared dead, he said. I got better, Vorn joked, then looked at the man on the table. Still getting into trouble, huh? The girl stared at him, unsure. He said, you died in the Orion breach. Vorn laughed. Close, he said. I disappeared so I could survive. He walked over, placed a gentle hand on the injured man's shoulder. I owe him my life, Vorn said, and now I'm here to return the favor. For a moment, things felt safe. Too safe that night, as they prepared the ship to leave. Vorn sat alone near the communication array. He pulled a tiny device from his wrist and whispered, I have her. Repeat, I have the girl, miles away. On a hidden command ship, Karzak leaned back and smiled. Excellent, he said. Bring her in alive. The girl couldn't sleep. Something felt wrong. Her thoughts spun like storm clouds. Her past, her power, the man who saved her. She walked quietly toward the upper deck, where Vorn stood watching the stars. He turned when he saw her, smiling warmly. Can't sleep either? He asked. No, she said. Too many memories. Same, he said. Memories are tricky. They lie. She tilted her head. Do they? Vorn's smile froze, just for a moment, and in that flicker, she saw it, the truth. The signal on his wrist, the way he avoided the wounded man's eyes, the cold behind his words. She stepped back slowly. "You're not here to help, Vorn." "Didn't lie," he just sighed. "You were never meant to live this long," he said. "None of us were. You're too dangerous." She clenched her fists. "You said you owed him." "I do," Vorn replied. "Which is why I'll make this quick." Before he could move, the lights exploded. The girl's power flared. But wild and unstable, Vorn drew his weapon. Firing a stun shot, it hit her, but she stood behind them. The man limped into view, holding his side. "You betrayed us," he said, voice weak but steady. "I saved the galaxy," Vorn snapped. "You just won't let it stay saved." The girl looked between them, past and present, trust and betrayal. She raised her hand, her power buzzing. She could kill him, burn him to ash. But the man shook his head. "No," he said, "don't be what they made you." She lowered her hand instead. She pressed her palm to the console. The ship lit up. Then sealed Vorn in a stasis chamber. Freezing him in place, it was over. For now. Later, the man sat beside her again. "You had the power," he said. "You chose mercy." She didn't smile. "I chose a different path." She said, "Not peace, not war, something new, far." Away, Karzak watched the signal go dark. He frowned for the first time. "She's not following her programming," he whispered. "She's becoming something else." The stars had never looked so quiet. The girl stood at the edge of the ship's main window, her hands glowing softly. Below them, the planet burned, not with war, but with change. Systems were crashing, codes she had touched were spreading. Her signal, her voice, had reached deep into the machines of the galaxy. And now, everything was waking up. Behind her, the man sat in silence, wrapped in bandages, breathing slow but steady. He watched her like someone watching a storm. Beautiful, but dangerous. She turned to him, her voice low. "It's time," he nodded. "You're sure?" "No," she said, "but I know I'm the only one who can do it." Dr. Yaren had warned them. The final code locked in her mind wasn't just information. It was a command. If activated, it would shut down the control systems used by the alien empire, their ships, weapons, and AI chains. But it would also shut down her, because she wasn't separate from the code. She was the code. Vorn, now frozen in a stasis pod, had tried to stop her. Karzak had tried to eat her, erase her, control her, but none of them truly understood. She wasn't just a weapon. She was a choice. They reached the old satellite hidden in orbit, the origin node. It was where she was created, and now, maybe where she would end. The door opened with a soft hiss. Lights flickered on after years of silence. The machine recognized her. "Welcome, Prototype Zero," it whispered. She stepped into the center platform. The panels lit up under her feet one by one. Holograms appeared of her creation, of the war, of the betrayal she watched without emotion. This wasn't her story anymore. It was everyone's. The man followed slower. "You don't have to do this," he said. "There's always another way." She smiled gently. "I'm not dying," she said. "I'm becoming." He didn't understand, but he trusted her. That was enough. Outside, Karsak's warship appeared on scanners. He had tracked the signal, faster than expected. He would reach them in minutes. The man ran to the control console. "We're out of time." The girl stood still, eyes closed. Her body began to lift into the air, light pouring from her chest. The node accepted her code, her mind, her voice. She was speaking to everything. Across the galaxy, things began to change. Slaves' collars unlocked. Weapons powered down. Ships halted in space, blind and harmless. The Empire trembled. Inside the warship, Karzak roared. "Stop her!" he screamed. "Fire everything!" Missiles launched, aimed at the satellite. But before they could reach it, a wave of energy hit them. Not a blast, but a reset. The missiles stopped in place, then turned to dust. The man shielded his eyes as the light around the girl grew brighter. Shouted her name, but she didn't answer. Her body was gone now. Only energy, only signal. Then silence. The light vanished. The machine shut down, and she was gone. He fell to his knees, alone in the stillness. The war was over, but so was she. Or so he thought. Later, as he floated through space, heading toward a small human colony, A faint sound echoed from the ship's speakers, a voice, soft and familiar. "You kept your promise," she said, "and so did I." He stared at the screen, blinking. Her symbol glowed gently in the corner. She wasn't gone. She had uploaded herself not into the machine, but into the network. She was everywhere now, and watching. On distant worlds, children touched old screens and saw a girl with glowing eyes. Slaves found their chains open without warning. Fleets stopped, questioned their orders. The universe was not the same. Because one human chose to burn his last fuel, and one girl chose not to be a weapon, but a light, a voice, a future. The man smiled quietly. "Goodbye," he whispered. And somewhere in the stars, she whispered back, "Not goodbye, just beginning."